Well, good evening, everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome to the spring installment of the Department of English, Philosophy, and Modern Languages Dorothy Patterson Poetry Series, featuring Professor Emeritus from WT, Dr. Claudia Stuart, who has just published, I believe, the third edition of her poetry, Prose and Penguins. You can pick it up at the University Bookstore. We have some at the University Bookstore, and you can find it online as well. A couple people I would like to thank before we get started tonight. We could not host these wonderful events if it weren't for the generosity of Dorothy and Don Patterson, who generously whose philanthropy is so generous and allows these kinds of events to happen. So a very kind thank you to Dorothy and Don Patterson. I'd like to thank Dr. Pat Tyree for her advice and help putting these events together. I'd like to thank Dean Jessica Mallard and her office for all the effort and work they have put in helping put together this event. Especially Lauren Gaston, who does way more work than she has to do to help me put these events together. So a special thank you to Lauren. I'd also like to thank my department head, Dr. Bonnie Roos, who I always go to saying, should I do this? And her answer is always very kindly, yes, go ahead. And I think that's a really a nice thing to hear when you're hesitant and you're unsure if you're doing the right thing. But to the point, Claudia Stuart. I'll keep this as brief as I can. I've been saying in the media all over lately, in the newspaper, on the news, that I can't remember when I met Claudia. I know that I was told I had to meet Claudia at some point. I think Dr. Pat Tyree told me, you have to meet Claudia Stuart. And I met her somewhere at some point, and she read some of her poems, and I found them to be challenging poems, challenging insofar as they ask you to make a commitment, whether that commitment be to justice, to faith, to believing in yourself, to acting like a good person, to doing the right thing, whatever it might be. All of Claudia's poems have that kind of power behind them. And I love them so very much for that very reason. And I won't waste any more time. I'd love to jump right into Claudia's reading, but just one thing I would ask of all of you, please. At the end, about 7:45 or so, we will have time for Q&A. If you would just please put your question into the chat on Zoom. I'll try to pick out as many as I can, and we'll try to get to as many as we can starting at 7:45. So hold up until around 7:45 for questions. And Claudia, the stage is yours. Take over.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Eric. I really appreciate it. I just want to thank, first of all, Dorothy and Don Patterson for their generosity to the humanities program, the creative writing program at WT, and to absolutely start this poetry series. I am so pleased to have been asked to do to be the presenter this time for this semester. And what a wonderful opportunity to give me a platform to show you and share with you my work. I want to welcome each and every one of you that are here tonight. I know those of you in Amarillo, you're probably homebound because of the 5 or 6 inches of snow that we have, and you have me to listen to tonight. But I know that for other people, you could have had anything else to do tonight, but you chose to be here with me for my poetry reading, and I really, really appreciate it. So to my family that's here, to my friends, my church family, my neighbors, my colleagues, fellow poets who also chose to be here, the brats, the Frankfurt American High School brats are here as well. And you're all over the world, and I appreciate you taking the time to be here as well. Buena High School and students and former students, thank you so much. My church family, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I'm deeply honored to have you here with me tonight. When I share some of these poems, I want you to have some expectations. Expect to care, expect some amount of discomfort, um, expect also some encouragement, expect joy, expect inspiration, hope, love, and also expect a blessing. I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for allowing me to see another day. Each day that I'm here, He's first and foremost in my life. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and share with you um, my work in my newest book, which is Poetry, Prose, and Penguins in the third edition. And for that, I want to start out with what I call Lord, I See You. Lord, I see you. I hear you. I taste you, Lord. I see you. I smell you. I feel you. Lord, I see you. I sense you. I touch you. As I look across the vast land, I see most of your kingdom. As I listen to the ocean waves smashing in the sea, I hear your voice of reason, my child, take care of me. As I watch the cattle in the distance dotted here and there, I hear you whisper softly, do not harm, nary a hair. As I gaze outside my window each day and night, I see people walking and children playing, never to leave my sight. As I watch the railroad crossing and the trains going to and fro, I see you in the midst as I watch the flow. As I think of all the creatures that you have placed in front of me, I see your hands work on the future meant to be. As I see people scurrying over here and there, I see you ordering, instructing, and guiding people everywhere. As I see places of worship standing tall against the sky, I see them also crumbling, falling, closing, and I ask, why? As I listen to the chatter and the clatter and the clangs, I hear you in the midst of it, and I hear others too. As my ears detect a voice so loud it makes me stop, I hear your echo in the wind and hasten to let it drop. As I hear the world is spinning off its axis and maybe more, I wonder if it is you again saying, that is me for sure. As I hear you in the breeze placing leaves upon my face, I remember why you kept reminding me of your grace. I hear you, Lord, my master, telling me tried and true to love, honor, and obey you. That is what I must do. I hear anguish all around me. Some are fit and some not so. I hear of death and destruction of the ones we must let go. I hear you all around me and through the silence know to bend my knees and thank you because you told me so. As I witness people dying, crying, trying to make things right, I taste you in my tears and never far from my sight. As I drink the water to replenish and eat food for nourishment, I thank you for the raindrops and the rivers that you sent. As I savor all the blessings each and every day, I thank you evermore and bow my head to pray. As I share bread and bounty so ripe upon the land, we are thankful for all of it as it goes from hand to hand. Lord, I taste the sweetness and the goodness of all you have made for me. The fruits of your labor are all it was meant to be. Lord, I smell you in the orchards, the vineyards, and green gardens filled with dew. And as I get that whiff of air, I say, Lord, is it really you? I smell you in the lake beds, in the meadows so divine. I smell you in the ocean with the coral reefs and lime. I smell you throughout the gateways, traveling from place to place, being constantly reminded this is God's grace. I smell you as the people gather in destinations near and far. places reached by land and sea, and some to reach by car. I smell you in the voices as people moan and groan and cry, begging again the question, why did you let them die? I feel you in the raging floods, the tsunamis, and much, much more. I feel the water thrashing hard against the shore. I feel your mighty power, Lord, as buildings crash upon the ground, creatures scurrying and battling about and bodies never found. I feel you in the heartbeat of each passerby. I feel you in the sunshine drifting from the sky. I feel you in the urgency sweeping across the earth, constantly reminding all to put God first. I feel you in hostility, war and factions here and there, those dividing and controlling, banishing without care. I feel you in tranquility, a calming sight to see. You reaching out and saying, let go and let me lead. I feel your driving forces to meet each and every need, diminishing hopeless frustration and doing away with greed. I feel the comfort in knowing of each and every touch that you are saying how much you love us, oh, so very much. I sent you all around us to be kind and grateful too, for all that you have given and promises anew. I sent you in the pulpit with your guidance and favor about, with messages of unity, faith, hope, and charity throughout. I sent you upon waking from sleeping the night away, meeting me in the morning, and keeping all fears at bay. I sent you in the big book, the Bible, as I read, the power of forgiveness, love, and the mustard seed. I sent you as I greet strangers upon my path. I sent you in my thoughts, words, and deeds, and the aftermath. I sent you in the forest filled with many trees. I sent you in the wind and the ocean breeze. I sent you in the gutters among all kinds of folk. I sent you in the subways among people reading notes. I sent you in the voices of people large and small. I sent you in the crowds and in the meeting halls. I sent you in the schoolyard as children play, climb, and run. I sent you in the ceremony with the beating drum. I sent you in the jungle as creatures surviving, harking to a distant call. I sent you in the cities and suburbs, people shuffling through the malls. As I gaze upon the raindrops and feel the snow upon my face, I feel your gentle touch and I bask in your grace. As I swim in the water and feel sand upon my feet, I feel your touch around me. I feel the sun and heat. As I shake hands with my neighbor and greet them with a smile, I feel your touch within me that stays with me a while. As I see all of your image with love and kindness too, I feel your touch upon us telling us what we must do. Your touch will guide us in the right ways to go. Our steps will lead to many that we may not even know. Your touch will direct us to be all that we can be, showing love and compassion to all that we see. Your touch is so mighty, your majesty so complete. You will never leave us, your love so tender and so sweet. Making it through 2020 was really something. We had so many, many challenges upon us. And as I look around at some of the things that were happening from time to time and from place to place, it gave me a pause to think about God's grace and some of the things that we should really be thankful for and how we can help other people around us. The next poem I want to share with you was on the airways and the news feeds all over the world, and that was the death of George Floyd. This poem is just called Breathe. You are fading fast. Tell me how you feel, what you need. Let me do it for you. Let me get it for you. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Let me hold you in my arms. Let me hold you one last time. Let me hold you one last. Let me hold you one. Let me hold you. Let me hold. Let. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe without you with me. I can't breathe without you by my side. I can't breathe without you by. I can't breathe without you. I can't breathe without you. I can't breathe. I can't. I. When we think of things happening in business as usual, I wrote a poem called Business as Usual Not. If you would not send your son, don't you dare send mine. If you would not go yourself, don't you dare send me. We're all in this together means one for all and all for one. What it does not mean is all in, meaning all of me and none of you. We will fight for you to go. Does not mean your sacrifice is me. For me to look around and see you standing there and all my people in the ground, if you would not send your son, don't you dare send mine. And if you would not go yourself, don't you dare send me. We all have responsibilities. Some take responsibilities lightly, some take responsibilities very seriously. And if it doesn't work out and there's violence and devastation around, there's an outcry from the people. This particular poem is called Where is the Outcry? Where is the outcry, the sense of moral decency? Where is my child? I will keep her safe. I will protect her. I will let no harm come upon her. Where is my brother? We are still his keeper. We are still his protector. We are still to let no harm come upon him. Where are my people? We are not stones in the sand. We hear, we see, we act. Where is our dignity? We must do what is right. We must act when others do not. We must act because we are humans and decent and moral. Where is the outcry when another is being destroyed, punched, and kicked about in a knotted twist and flat? Where is the outcry when we sit back and watch and do nothing? Where is the outcry because my soul is hurting for my fellow man? Where is the shame I see in your eyes as you look back at me? From time to time, some of the things that are happening, we think, is it a mistake that it happened the way it did at the time that it did? Because it did? The next poem is called It's a Mistake. Is it a mistake that you think you can't help somebody, reach out to the poor, acknowledge the existence of people different from yourself? Is it a mistake in a town that has a church on every corner and other people don't look around outside, down the street, next door to understand people are poor and need help, food, shelter, love, kindness, generosity, and the like? Is it a mistake to take what God has blessed you with and not see the need or the urgency to share with others less fortunate than ourselves? Is it a mistake to harbor bad feelings, ill will toward those who are victims who see no way out? It's a mistake not wanting to see the destruction, devastation, and death and not feel that we have a responsibility at all, not to let this happen again and again and again. It's a mistake not to follow the common rules of decency and respect and honor for those individuals around you that look like you and not like you and not so much like you and so different from you. It's a mistake not to have the concern and compassion to others, to understand better their plight, their quest, their problems, their issues in life that you could probably help with if you cared. It's a mistake not to honor families who are struggling to put food on the table, clothes on their children, shelter from the storms, and living in utter devastation. It's a mistake to look the other way and say that you will obey. The Christian way is to help save the day, yet do nothing. It's a mistake not to understand what the families have at hand, dealing with addictions of drugs, sex, food, lust, work, mindlessness, and not reach out and reach in. It's a mistake not to care about the streets of our country as well as the streets of other countries and roads through the jungles and paths of ruin. It's a mistake not to give of yourselves what has been given to you to use for the betterment of life as we know it. It's a mistake not to take the hand of that young person and lead them, guide them, mentor them, help them, teach them to read, write, take care of themselves and the world around them. It's a mistake not to feed the poor, open the door, share the light with all of our might. It's a mistake not to treat people the way you want to be treated and love your neighbor as you love yourself. It's a mistake to think that we can survive in a world not caring for creatures large and small, and the biggest of them all the land and water that surrounds us. It's a mistake to think that we do not need to heed the clarion call that's made to all to step up, step in, or step out. It's a mistake not to acknowledge that we know what to do, but don't do it. We know what to feel, but don't feel it. We know how to act, but don't do it. And we know where to go, but won't do it. We know we can do it, but won't do it. It's a mistake to attack and smear the very veneer of the statues upon the land we wish to preserve. It's a mistake not to acknowledge that the time is now and the race is on. And if we are to finish it all, we must recognize we're in it to win it. And united we stand and divided we fall. It's a mistake not to see the vision of generations to come and prevent some of the destructive ways and dangerous pitfalls set before them. It's a mistake not to turn around while we're yet on the ground and can make judgment sound and purpose abound. It's a mistake to wake up from dreaming and with all of the scheming and not find the meaning of changing the landscape and the scenery in the world around us to benefit all. And then there are light moments when the weather changes and, the weather changes. You can have 4 seasons in one day in Amarillo. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you just have to come here to see it. Winter, spring, summer, and fall all in one day. Sometimes we have drought conditions and sometimes we're blessed with the rains, and I love water. I think one of my greatest travel plans are to be on some beach in the Caribbean or be in Hawaii or be on some white sand beach and basking in the sun. So I enjoy the rain. This poem is called simply Rain Dance. Raindrops dripping from my hair being tossed about in the midnight air. I contemplate my next move as I turn the volume up real loud as the music modulates in my ears. I leap towards the sky as the water streams down my back and flicks off my elbows as my arms slowly descend to my sides. My knees hit the ground in a swishing sound as the stars twinkle across the darkened sky. Up again on my toes, making tiny circles as the wet blades of grass lay crushed beneath my feet, the raindrops bouncing off the thighs of mine in the rhythm of the night as the full moon shines radiant light upon my path. I slip and I slide, I swing and I sway and I glide from side to side. The music crescendos to the end as I twirl yet again, just dancing naked in the rain. When you listen to the news and what was going on in 2020, things were happening all around the world, and people were emotionally charged, and words were tossed about that depicted different descriptions of what we have in America today. And on one of the news feeds, I heard time and time again that people were comparing America with apartheid as far as our black and brown hued faces are concerned. And so this poem is called Apartheid. This is not apartheid in America today, is it? As we see our children gather round and go outside but cannot play. Our streets are filled with hatred as people try to separate us by color, class, and creed. And our voices go unheard and our pain unbridled as we look toward the morning sun and ask, what happened? This is not apartheid in America today, is it? When gone are the lunch programs and breakfast programs in our schools to feed our children, to keep them healthy with nutrition, nourishment to make them whole. As we see black and brown hued faces pressed against the windows, wondering, is this my America? I have friends no longer friendly, and I have desires no longer envied by the people who seem losing self-control. There are cultures no longer singing and fathers no longer bringing a plan of action to fit the mold. This is not apartheid in America today, is it? As I travel to many places on the streets so wide and vast and come to an end no longer caring and no longer free, I see the many wonders, bridges, buildings that were built by the sweat of the hands of my people in a land no longer serving the likes of me. In a country where people pay their taxes and find the roll on their back is pain and pressure and frustration with grim rewards at the end of the day. This really takes me to a place that is all about the race and caste and pathetic treatment around the way. Yet I see in God's grace that I can go to a higher place and feel the comfort and the joy that grows within. I have a Savior who died for me and blessed my spirit and set me free. I cannot stay dark. It cannot stay dark forever because the light shines through the heavens and washes all the tragic pain away. This is my America, built by my people, large and small, often there to save the day, washing, cleaning, cooking, picking, training, weaning, and other duties that other people would not do. Being constantly reminded that we build and we can mine it and find solace as we strive for equal pay and have our due. That with education all about our nation, we are shown a different path that we can take. It was built on many rumors that people could be humored into thinking that we are equal in every way. We are born with certain freedoms, gifts that we cherish and hold dear, and we dare not even give it all away. For as we vote our passion in a nation that is unyielding, we will strike a chord so everyone can play. I see a tent that will grow bigger as we roll our sleeves in vigor and walk the streets to register people that will vote. We will see throughout the nation people joyous without temptation to sit down at any table for which to eat. There are events that make us stronger with the words that make us hunger for a better life and a better place and a better way. Freedom is not free, and it is up to you and me to remember to pass down our history of our past. Then our children will grow up knowing that the things that we are showing is how to tap into the freedom at our feet. We are strong and we are humbled, and on our path we may stumble, but we get up and we stand strong and free. And this is not apartheid in America today, is it? No, no way, not tomorrow, not today. And we will not accept that this could happen in our time. We will continue being eager to have our voices there to greet you at the table while we gladly take our seat. And as the pie is sliced and diced, and even with a little spice, we share pieces of our daily bread. This is not apartheid in America today, is it? No, not today and not tomorrow. We stand tall and look up with no fear, no pain, no anger, and no dread. Again, things happen to people from time to time. And years ago, I served Potter, Randall, and Armstrong County as an adult probation officer. And as a probation officer, I was working with those clients who had committed felonies. I was a felony officer. And sometimes when society looks upon those who are criminals, it's easy to want them to serve their time, get back out into the public after their time has been served, and become productive citizens. There has been a long debate about rehabilitation and how to rehabilitate certain individuals. But you know, it's hard to rehabilitate when people sometimes haven't been habilitated to begin with. So who is the victim? Is it the person that had the crime perpetrated against them? Or is it the perpetrator? This one's called A Victim's Tale. I just want to sit and talk and tell you all my woes. I know you've heard many tales. This is how my story goes. I was born in poverty 22 years ago. My father left home to find himself, left me, Mom, John, and Bo. Mom drank a lot of whiskey and I drank my share of beer. All my mother's boyfriends loved to come over here. They never had much money to buy food and snacks and such. Only time to drink some beer. They liked that very much. So I grew up all alone, learned to fight to win my friends. Never knew but losers' games, the one nobody wins. I stole a car to Mexico, seeking fun and thrills and pleasure, drinking and drugging along the way, killing off my own treasure. The car lost control and hit a wall. My blood was everywhere. As I came from beneath the car, I saw everybody stare. My buddies' bodies were broken, dead on every side. My neck and wrist were twisted. I covered my face and cried. I landed in the hospital fighting to stay alive. Months went by in recovery, 3, 4, or maybe 5. When I got out, it started. The police were by my side. They said 2 to 20 if lucky, for all my buddies died. Now tell me who's the victim as I related all this mess. I only wanted my piece of the pie. I don't know about my best. My life seems finished, the tale complete. So short it seems to me. I'm still a young man fighting, not 22, but 23. Lies, lies, and more lies. Do we ever get away from them? Can we ever get around them? We heard a lot of lies in the last 4 years. I think on one of our news station, the news person was always showing a jar of gumballs, and there was a gumball put in for each lie that was told. This poem is called Lies, Lies, and More Lies. A lie falling trippingly from the tongue. A lie at night when the day is done. A lie spat out for days and days. A lie that lingers in a haze. A lie that swells and has no end. A lie fresh off the button, send. A lie that could maim or kill a few. A lie so big and bold that others knew. A lie from the most powerful source. A lie that took the world off course. A lie to set the record straight. A lie prompting much debate. A lie to withstand the test of time. A lie not discerning the end of the line. A lie that shocks and shatters lives. A lie that cuts like 1,000 knives. A lie about the women and what they did. A lie about disaster to keep the truth hid. A lie about the numbers coming out of the gate. A lie about people teaching generations to hate. A lie about all manner of sex and such. A lie about size, not so much. A lie about the generals and the government as a whole. A lie on the media as the cameras roll. A lie about greatness and wanting to be thanked. A lie about how our society tanked. A lie about the taxes and when they were paid. A lie about recovery as more bodies were laid. A lie to the people and not great to run. A lie undeniably reckless later said is fun. A lie about world health at a fever pitch. A lie about scientific plans disappearing in a ditch. A lie on his eminence that time would not tell. A lie as the systems fade into hell. A lie as the economy takes unlimited toll. A lie about war as stealth rumors unfold. A lie that floats throughout endless seas. A lie that flies and stings like bees. A lie of such vicious, vile, and evil stuff. Lies, 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 enough, enough. But you
Claudia?
wake up the next day and we find that we are coming to the end. And so, again, I would like to thank everyone that's here. And I understand we're going to do a Q&A.
Yeah, Claudia. Yeah. I jumped in there a little bit too early. I didn't know you were ending there. I was going to say one more, but we do have a question. Larry
Well,
Watson.
before we go to the question,
Yeah, sure.
Can I do my masterpiece?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me get rid of myself and you.
Okay, I like to start and stop on time, but give me 3 minutes, and I'll give you another rhyme. Sorry, guys. This is this is one of my masterpieces because it was done as a college project in my Afro literature class under Dr. Sarmazel Dutt, who later became one of my dearest colleagues from WT. She challenged us to write a poem about some of the authors that we liked. And of course, my favorites were Phyllis Wheatley and Langston Hughes, James Weldon Johnson, Maya Angelou, and many, many more. And this was called What's the Creation of the Black Man? And because I was a student of dance under Sheila Donaghy, I also choreographed a dance to go along with it. I'm not going to do the dance tonight. No, I'm not. I'm not getting you pumped up for that. But I'm just letting you know that it was the poem, and to Miles Davis's Bitches Brew, the jazz piece, I did What's the Creation of the Black Man? And God stepped out and peered on the dark continent of Africa and said, where is the man who will till the soil, lift the bell and tote that barge? I'll make me a black man. He reached for his dark piece of clay and molded and worked till he made limbs. He smiled and said, that's good. He worked in the details of the arms and knees, the toes, the fingers, and now the head. He rounds out the holes for the eyes and plucks 2 stars from the heavens to be the sparkling eyes. He widens the passages of the nostrils and boldly sets them in place. For the mouth, he puts every curve in a distinct place and wells the sides in an ironic smile. He smiles and says, that's good. Yes, the black man too was created in the image of God, and God also blew the breath of life for this man to become a living soul. What for did God create this man? It was all in his original plan to till the earth, to be in charge of lifting the bell and towing the barge. Is that good? For many years, the black man has struggled from the very day of his creation to be a man in his own right. He is pained, scarred from the battlements of injustice and inhumanity, and strained of the very life he should lead. Yet the black man is strong to withstand all the ills done against him, strong to compete in the survival of the fittest, strong to defend all that is his, and that is good. The black man has troubled and toiled much in his plight for freedom in this great country of America. White men have burned his clothes, branded his back, castrated his body, slapped his face, stabbed his back, kicked his legs, chained his arms, and lynched his very existence. Is that good? Hell no. The black man has and will continue to fight for equality, justice, and humanity. He will continue to fight for his home and community. He will fight for his life and will unite in that quest for liberation. Right on, black man. You were not created to merely till the soil, to give service to the spoil. Rise and walk again. Rise and walk again, for in this nation of men, we shall overcome. Now, Eric, that completes my reading for this evening.
Very nice. Thank you, Claudia, so much. We have about 10 minutes for questions, and so I'll just start with the first one that came in. Larry Watson asks, I know you worked with troubled youth early in your career. Did this experience influence your thirst for social justice so evident in your poetry?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And Larry, we go back a long way to teen resources for youth. And in working with youth, we always found that there were many, many resources, but sometimes those resources, by the time it got down to the youth that really, really needed them, they were not available. We had to write many, many grants. We had to beg and scrimp and go to many different places for resources for our young people to turn them around at the young age while the avenues for change were great. So absolutely social justice early on. But with a family of 6 kids and being a military brat, we were always concerned about social justice. My dad was a soldier, so we were always looking for ways to improve societies in this country and also other countries around the world. Thank you.
Okay, we have another one. This is from Jean Stuntz. Hi, Dr. Jean Stuntz. She asks if you have a schedule for writing your poetry.
My schedule is to look at the news, to look at what's happening around me in my environment. I'm motivated by people and their lives and what's going on with them. Also, my strong faith in telling me and guiding me on what to do, what's right or what's wrong. As far as the schedule is concerned, my family will surely tell you that at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's my most creative period of time, and I'm up. I used to have a pad by my bedside, and I would just sit and write. But with my iPhone, it makes it a lot easier just to dictate. And then by the time I do get up in the daytime, that's when I type it up on the computer. Thank you, Jean.
Okay, we have another one. Patrick Miller asks, how would you describe the role of poetry in articulating one's perspective on the adversity faced by communities of color?
One of the major ways that we have seen on the forefront of some of the poems that have been used in rap definitely have been sending the message of what's going on with people and their lives, what's happening to them in their home front, what's happening to them with the criminal justice system, what's happening to them in it just trying to eke out an existence in everyday life. When you listen to the words of the rap artists, they talk about devastation. They talk about their plight. They talk about where they're going, where they're headed in life. And we see a lot of pain. But out of that pain, we also see that there's a lot of people that can relate to what it is that they're saying, what they're talking about. Then people can come in and find out how they can help, how they can be allies, how they can, pitch in so that the ways don't seem so dark always and that there's hope. Thank you for that, Patrick.
Okay, let's see. We have one from Shauna Peoples. She wants to know, when did you first begin writing your poetry, and why did you begin writing your poetry?
Well, I've always liked to talk, but I found that I also like to write as much as I like to talk. And at the age of 13, my mother noticed that I would spend hours writing and writing little poems. And I had her hit, here in Amarillo, um, after I collected poems for a number of years. And my mother was visiting with us, and she was living in Arizona at the time. And she came for a visit, and she ran out of things to read around the house. And she said, "Isn't there something else? You need to bring me a couple of magazines on your way home, or something like that." And I said, "Well, Mom, I have a whole drawer in the living room filled with poems. Why don't you read that?" My mother was always an avid reader. By the time I got home from work, my mother had my mother was in the middle of the floor in the den, and the floor was just littered with my papers, my poetry, and she was weeping. And she said, "Claudia, you've got to share this. You got to share these words. Why are you just collecting them in a drawer?" And so that's what encouraged me to seek publishers interested in my work. And I've been writing ever since. Thank you, Shauna.
Thank you. We'll do two more questions. There's two good questions here. So your friend Claudia Blackburn asks, as a friend who knows the lighter side of you, I particularly enjoyed Rain Dance. Can you talk about the circumstances that inspired that poem?
One of the things about creativity is that you have a vivid imagination. And like I mentioned before, I was a student of dance. And so I'm always dancing around the house and dancing around the house and also singing around the house. And when it was raining, it was pouring. And I thought about, wouldn't it be nice just to go out there in the rain and dance around naked? I didn't do it, but it sure would have been nice. So I wrote about it rather than having to do it. And that brought me joy. Thank you, Claudia.
Okay, and our last one is a really good one, I think, a good question. Melissa Ramirez asks, she says, I work with low-income children. Oops, it's jumped off my screen. I work with low-income children at an elementary school. I want to focus on social justice in my lessons next week. Which poem from your book do you recommend for fifth graders? I love your passion, and these poems are very powerful. These kids need to understand that they have power and hope. We'll end on that question, but I think you probably have a great answer for it.
And the great answer that I would have would be the poem called Unique. And it's a short one. But when you listen to the words, there's a lot of metaphor in Unique. And they can learn something not only from just the story itself, but the joy of putting words together to tell the story that you would like to portray. Try to fit in, the round peg said when approached by the square box. Your corners are tight and rigid. You'll need to trim a lot. A tuck here, a split there, round the shoulders, make a grin. Why not accept me as I am, the box said from within. If you see me as you are with my differences too, you'll be pleasantly surprised to know how much I am like you. My sides may not be rounded and I can't roll on my way, yet I like you the way you are and accept you without delay. Though our gait may be unbalanced as we go rickety down the street, our voice can still be as one, even though both unique.
Well, Claudia, the sun has gone down. You can see it's dark now, and my face has kind of gotten dark. The sun is past the windows. I just want to thank you once again for being our Dorothy Patterson Poetry Series spring reader. Fantastic work, fantastic job, and the the comments are just beautiful, wonderful, excellent. They're all superlatives. So it's so nice to see all this. And I want to thank you for doing this, and I want to thank everybody who zoomed in tonight. I'm hoping we can do these in person again so very soon. But for the meantime, we'll keep Zooming them. As many as I can get Zoom, we'll do Zoom. But Claudia, do you have any final words for everyone?
I'd just like to say thank you all for attending. It has been my absolute pleasure and joy to share my work with you. I hope you walk away feeling, caring about our fellow man, because we're all in this together, and united we can make things happen and make changes for the betterment of our communities. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and once again, thank you everyone, and have a good night, and stay healthy, stay safe, and peace to all of you. Take care. Goodbye.